got a Brazilian for this? I'm not even fucking anyone. I was like, I'm gonna Brazilian for the don't tell. You know what I'm saying? The guy's got a fresh fade. I'm like, to the back. Clean, bald as a baby for the don't tell. All right. Hi, guys. I'll get it out of the way. I've never done OnlyFans, okay? But I have been a greeter for Abercrombie & Fitch. Yes, we remember Abercrombie & Fitch? It was kind of like the red light district of the mall, yeah. I got to wear clothes, the boys had their shirts off to attract customers. They were like, come in the store because our bodies are good. And I think we need to bring that back. I don't know what happened to that. I think it's good. I'm very pro-objectification of men. Yes! I think it helps them relate to women, and I'll be honest, it's good for the economy. Right? If you were walking by Whole Foods and you saw a jack dude outside with nothing but kale on his nuts, you'd be like, fuck Trader Joe. I'll pay extra. I did mention OnlyFans, and I know that sometimes that's a little touchy because only like 1 in 3 men are on it, and I know it's uncomfortable. And yeah, like I have a guy friend, and he told me, he was like, Tatiana, I would never date a girl that does OnlyFans. And I was like, wow, that's interesting, because I dated a guy that does OnlyFans, and I felt cool as hell. He knows what I'm talking about, yeah, brother, hell yeah. I felt cool, I felt badass, because girls like bad boys, right? And sex work is biblically bad. And I was like, I just feel like I'm at the top of the food chain. Like, these other girls' boyfriends can't compete. Tattoos, motorcycles. I'm like, your boyfriend's a bad boy, okay? My boyfriend's a whore. A bad boy, my man is a fallen woman in the eyes of the church. I've been worrying about my safety lately as a woman, no particular reason, and yeah. I don't know, I'm worried it's because like I don't have time to learn jujitsu, you know? So I just came up with a plan, which is that I'm just gonna get super jacked, right? Because that requires no skill or talent. Sorry, fellas. You actually don't need a right-wing podcast. You can just do that shit. So that's my plan. I'm gonna super muscular. That way, when I'm walking home alone and a man sees me and he sees my muscles, he'll think, gross. Yeah, I listen to men. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but there was a man going around New York City punching women in the head. We heard about this. Yes, and every time I would read an article about this, it always had the same headline. It always say, another woman gets punched in the head while looking down at her phone. Yeah, it almost sounded like they were defending the guy, you know? Like, oh, in his defense, he was just trying to get those ladies to live in the moment. Ladies, come on, get off TikTok, right? Wake up, smell the knuckle sandwiches. Right? Make eye contact with the fist as it approaches. That's why I personally walk everywhere in fighting stance, okay? I'm always bobbing and weaving, okay? It's harder to hit a moving target. Write that down. Sorry, you're a woman. I just assumed you were taking notes for this meeting. No, but that doesn't make sense, right? Because even if those women weren't looking down at their phone, it wouldn't have mattered, right? Because that guy was a crackhead, okay? And crackheads do not telegraph their punches, right? I don't think this guy was walking around New York City like, why, order! No, he's a crackhead. He doesn't even know he's about to hit you. He's just as surprised as you are, right? Muhammad Ali would lose to a crackhead because they move different. They see dimensions we can't see. They're moving in 4D like the Matrix. You get hit by a crackhead, you're like, where did that come from? He's like, tomorrow! Oh, you thought time and space was linear. This crackhead hates women, loves science. Speaking Speaking of science, I hate when people use pseudoscience to describe the difference between men and women. Like, my guy friends are always doing caveman theory on me. They love to bring up the cavemen. They're always like, Tatiana, you gotta understand the difference between men and women. The men, they used to be cavemen. And the cavemen, they used to hunt. And the women, they were, the men were hunters. The women, they were gold diggers. I don't know. And I was, I looked it up. I looked it up the other day. And that shit was fucking made up. They made that shit up. The women were hunters. And we know the women were hunters because they found female bones buried next to ancient hunting tools. And we know the bones were female because they were sexy. The bones were sassy. They were like, they found them, they were like this. They were like... The bones had a fat ass. And... So don't believe what they tell you, okay? We were hunters. We're leaders too. So, and I know the previous joke was a little touchy because I said the word crackhead a lot, and that's usually not okay? But I just want you to know I can say it because I'm half crackhead on my dad's side. Yeah. My dad has 3 DUIs, which is cool. A lot of people don't know you can have that many. Yeah. I told my friend was like, 3 DUIs, how does he get around? And I was like, well, he lives in Florida, so he drives. My friend was like, oh my God, you could have 3 DUIs, they still let you drive your car? I'm like, yeah, they also let you hit your wife. I know, who's making the laws? The drunk guy who hits his wife? Guys, to be fair, my mom was looking down at her phone. That's why I'm trying to stick to women, I'm trying to date women. Yeah, which is not easier, by the way. It's not. I'm trying my best. I went on a date recently with a girl, and I thought it was going well, because we were talking about trauma. That's what women like. So a date with 2 women is just listing every family member's mental illness before the drinks even arrive. And I thought it was going well, and then after an hour, she goes, you're hard to read. I feel like you hate me. And I was like, I don't know what to say. Like, I usually date men, and they don't have a problem with that. Men are not concerned with what I like. And it's hard, because it's like... I don't know. It is easier to pick up men in the real world. I feel like picking up men in the real world, it's like being on a reality show like Love Island, Most of them are just kind of down. Picking up women in the real world, it's kind of like that reality show, Is It Cake? Trying to figure out if a girl is flirting or just being nice. You gotta pull out a knife. Always bobbing and weaving. Always bobbing and weaving. Please don't pull out a knife. I don't know if you guys know this. There's like a male loneliness epidemic. You guys know? Clap it up if you heard of the male loneliness. Yeah, just the women. That's cool. And yeah. If you don't know, basically so many men in this country are reporting that they have no one close to them, that they're declaring it an epidemic. And it's crazy because I didn't know epidemic could be lonely guy. I thought epidemic was like medical virus, like COVID-19. But the men in this country are chronically unfucked. They are medically without kisses. And it's terrifying, because it's the first epidemic that spreads through no contact. And the male loneliness epidemic, God, that's so long to say. Can we just call it No Hose 19? I feel for them, because, and if it's medical, get them treatment, send these boys to an improv class, Have you been to an improv show, okay? I know an orgy when I see one. Those nerds are fucking, and it's about it's not just about fucking, it's about friendship. They're reporting they don't have close friends. And so I feel like everyone, do your part. Reach out to men in your community. If you feel like a guy has no hose 19, look for symptoms, ask him questions. Do you have a close friend that would drive you to the airport? Or the grocery or church, wherever they do their shootings. I don't judge. You could take a Uber. It's nice to have a friend drive you. And so it sounds like I'm making fun of them, but I have a lot of male friends, and I really value my male friendships. I call it male friendship. They call it the friend zone. I don't know. So I checked in with my male friends when I heard about the epidemic. Are like, are you guys okay? And all my male friends, they told me they're getting mad hosed. And I was like, thank God. They're safe. They're safe. They're getting mad hosed. One of my friends in particular, he gets mad hosed, and all the hosts are way too young for him. Way too young. And the most recent girl, I told him, I was like, yo, she's young. And he was like, Tatiana, okay, she has an old soul. It just made me wonder, do you think she says the same thing to her friends at recess? You think she's like, guys, he has a child soul trapped inside. He has a toddler brain and a baby dick. But I am trying to date women, and women are women are not great with rejection, by the way. Like, we know men are bad with rejection. Like, we know what happens when a man gets rejected. All right. That one was. I don't know what guns sound like. But when a woman gets rejected, we really can't handle it, because women, you have to understand, our whole lives growing up, every adult warned us that everyone's just trying to fuck us. Like when you're young, you're growing up, but every adult's like, don't trust any man. He's just trying to fuck you. He's just trying to fuck you, right? And we really take it to heart. We grow up and we walk around all day long and we're like, everyone's trying to fuck me. Everyone's trying to fuck me. And then the first guy who's like, no thanks, we're like, what are you, gay? And I rejected a woman recently, and it didn't go over so well. I was talking to her at a gay bar, and for whatever reason, I wasn't into it. She was annoying. She went to NYU or some shit. And I was like, oh, it was nice talking to you. I gotta go meet my friends. And she's like, oh, let's exchange Instagrams. And I was like, sure, and we never spoke again. And I thought that was that. But then a few weeks later, I posted a video. She comments on the video, and she goes, ladies, watch out. Tatiana goes to gay bars, flirts with women, just so that they'll follow her on Instagram. No, and I love that for her. Right? Because rather than accept that she got rejected, she made up a conspiracy. A conspiracy in which I'm trying to get famous at comedy, one lesbian at a time. You guys heard of the Tinder swindler? I'm the